Everyone who heard what I did said I was brave, that I did the right thing. And for a long time, I let them believe that, because the truth is so much harder to sit with than the story I told them. Her name was Dara. She moved in next door with her 2 kids the spring before everything happened. Her son Marcus, who was maybe 7, and her daughter Lee, who was 5, and had this laugh you could hear through the fence on warm afternoons. That laugh. I keep coming back to that. Dara was young, younger than me by at least 10 years. She was doing it alone, no partner that I ever saw, no family dropping by. She drove a car with a cracked back windshield that she never got fixed. She worked double shifts, I knew that, because sometimes I'd be up early and I'd hear her car pulling out before 6 in the morning, and I'd be awake late and hear it pulling back in after 11. I want to be honest about something because I think it matters. I didn't like Dara. That's the part I don't tell people. I didn't dislike her because she'd done anything to me. She was never rude, never loud in a way that was a problem. But there was something about her that made me feel like she wasn't keeping things tidy enough. Not just the yard, though the yard was a mess. The bikes left out, the toys scattered, the recycling bin that sat at the curb 3 days past pickup. It was more like. I had a picture in my head of what a good mother looked like, and Dara didn't match it. My husband, Carl, told me once that I was too hard on her. He said it gently, the way Carl does, like he's handing you something fragile. I told him I was just concerned. And I was. But I was also something else, and I knew it even then, I just didn't look at it directly. The thing that started the whole chain was a Tuesday afternoon in October. I was pulling weeds along the side fence, and I heard Lee crying inside. Not the kind of crying that kids do when they're frustrated with a toy or fighting over something. The sustained kind. The kind that goes on without anyone coming. I stood there and I listened, and it went on for maybe 15 minutes. And Marcus came outside through the back door at some point, just sat on the porch steps and stared at the yard, and I asked him over the fence if everything was okay. He shrugged and said his mom was sleeping. Sleeping at 3 in the afternoon, and Lee still crying inside. I know what I thought. I think most people would have thought it. I went inside and I called the child services line, and I told them what I'd seen. The yard, the car, the hours, the crying. I told them about the times the kids seemed to be outside unsupervised. I told them about the mornings I'd seen Marcus eating what looked like cereal on the porch before school, alone. I gave them everything I'd been quietly cataloging for months without ever admitting to myself that I was cataloging it. What I didn't tell them, what I didn't even let myself fully form as a thought until later, was that the Tuesday Dara was sleeping at 3 in the afternoon was the Tuesday after she'd worked 36 hours straight covering for a coworker who'd had a medical emergency. I found that out later, much later. I also didn't tell them that I'd seen Dara kiss both her kids on the top of their heads every single morning before she put them in the car. That she'd once come over with a grocery bag and left it on my porch when I was sick. Didn't knock, just left it, with a handwritten note. That Lee, who had that laugh, was fed and clothed, and in school every day on time despite every hard thing stacked against her mother. The investigation lasted 6 weeks. 6 weeks of a caseworker coming to their door. 6 weeks of Dara looking at me over the fence with an expression I still can't fully describe. It wasn't anger, which somehow made it worse. It was more like exhaustion. Like she'd been waiting for something like this, had always known it was coming, and was just so tired. They found nothing. Of course they found nothing. What they found was a woman working herself hollow to keep 2 children warm and fed and loved, who happened to live next door to someone who kept a tidier yard and had more flexible hours and had decided, without ever saying it plainly, that Dara was doing it wrong. The part I replay most isn't the call. It's the conversation I had with the caseworker when she came to speak to me as a witness. She was a calm woman, professional, and she asked me, very evenly, whether I had ever spoken to Dara directly about my concerns. whether I had ever offered to help with the kids or asked if everything was okay. I hadn't, not once, not in 2 years of living beside her. I had watched, I had cataloged, I had called a government agency on a woman who was exhausted and alone, and I had told myself it was concern. Dara moved out 4 months later. I don't know if that was because of me. I tell myself it wasn't. I tell myself she found a better situation, a cheaper place, something closer to her work. But I don't know, and I've never been able to find out, and that not knowing has a specific weight to it that doesn't get lighter. Lee's laugh through the fence. That's what I still hear. I think about the version of me that goes over there that Tuesday, knocks on the door, asks if she needs anything, maybe watches the kids for an hour so Dara can sleep without the guilt of it. That version of me was available. She was right there. And I chose the other one, the one who got to feel righteous and responsible and concerned without ever having to be inconvenienced or wrong or human about it. I don't know what to call what I did. It wasn't nothing. But it also wasn't the brave thing everyone told me it was. It was somewhere in between those two things, in a place that doesn't have a clean name, and I've been living in that place ever since. Maybe what I did protected those kids. Maybe it just confirmed something Dara already knew about how the world saw her. Both things could be true. That's what I keep coming back to. Both things could be true at exactly the same time, and I have to decide which one I am, and I can't. I have never told anyone the full version of this. Not Carl, not my sister, just you right now in whatever quiet place you're listening from. I don't need you to tell me I did the right thing. I've had enough of that. What I want to know is what you would have done, not the version of you that you want to be, but the real one. The one who stands at a fence and listens and decides. What would you have done? Tell me in the comments.